evening, everybody, and welcome to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Alden K. We have a ton of Arizona sports news to talk about for episode 30. We'll start off with the Phoenix Suns. Man, how they remain a dumpster fire. They lost big time in the trade deadline. We will talk about all of that regarding the Jimmy Butler trade, Kevin Durant, you name it. We will talk about it for episode 30 today. And of course, with the Arizona Cardinals, I'll talk about the Myles Garrett trade rumors regarding the Cardinals hiring Justin Fry as new offensive line coach. And Tyrann Mathieu, former Cardinal, made a comment about Michael Bidwell's Hall of Fame induction. And then we'll move lastly to the Diamondbacks. They signed Trey Mancini to a minor league deal, and then we'll close out the episode with ASU basketball and U of A Wildcats. Time to move on from Bobby Hurley. We'll see ASU, and then of course Wildcats. They remain on a hot streak again. Here on episode 30, we will talk about that on the AZ Sports Zone, on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Alden K. Here a quick word from our sponsors before we get into the first segment. See you back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back for the Phoenix Suns segment.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Welcome to another episode, guys. This is the 30th episode of AZ Sports Zone. These 30 episodes have gone by very fast. Looking forward to a lot more. Happy to be back here on another Friday with you guys, talk Arizona sports. Of course, you guys can follow the two accounts that I run on Twitter or X, whatever people call it these days, AZ Sports Zone IE, where I retweet a bunch of Arizona sports news. Occasionally I'll give my thoughts on it, but mainly just keeping you guys updated on X. That is what I do on that account. And of course, my personal account at the AZTRL, where I guess I'm unfiltered on that account. I'm more brutally honest. So if you guys like a little trash talk, make sure to follow that account as well. And of course, our newest sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. Guys, use the promo code IESR for 10% off. Prices are high, times are tough. So make sure to take advantage of that every chance you get. Two big important things right there, nutrition and supplements. Make sure to take advantage of that. And of course, guys, this Sunday, we will be having a Super Bowl extravaganza show where we will be live throughout the entirety of Super Bowl Sunday. The only time we won't be live is during the, well, actually, we have a play-by-play for the Super Bowl, so make sure to tune in for that. So, yeah, we will be live throughout the entire Super Bowl. It starts off with our very own Larry B for a morning show, and then it'll be followed by Christian Harvey, host of Gritsville, USA at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and then followed by Andre, host of the NorCal Sports Report for 10 a.m., and then Big Mike, our guy from Indy Sports Nation, will host the 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time segment. And then, of course, Aaron Yowell for Mile High Musings will take over from there at 12 in the afternoon. And then at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, you're truly, Alden K will be hosting the 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time show. And then followed by Ricky K, our guy of the New York show, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So make sure to catch us, and then Larry will go live after the game. So make sure to really, if you guys have a chance, I know everyone's busy on Super Bowl Sunday, so but we will be going live for the Super Bowl. Make sure to tune in for that. And before we get into the first segment, we got a couple comments. Ralph Calise, amazing show today, by the way. Make sure to check out his show, The Injury Report. Yeah, man. Hines Ward, ASU legend. I had to comment on that. Yep, and great job on your show today. And of course, Taryn Rodriguez, also a great show today. Both of them went live earlier today. Taryn and his brother, they make a great duo for the SoCal show. So Taryn, great show today. And of course, I will try my best to have an amazing show today. So, but of course, yeah, guess who I'm talking about first? I think you guys can, I think you guys may guess on who my first segment is. I'm going to try my best to, keep my cool. Yeah, yeah. Where do I begin? Where do I begin? Before we get into the trade deadline horrificness of this Phoenix Suns team, we're going to talk about the recent games that they've had. They're on a 3-game losing streak, complete dumpster fire right now. Their last win was January 31st against the Golden State Warriors when they won in a blowout fashion, 130-105. And to start the month of February, it's not looking pretty good. They suffered 2 straight losses to the Portland Trailblazers. Both of them were in Portland. One of them was a blowout by 19 points, and the other one was in overtime when they ended up losing. Booker became the Suns' all-time leading scorer, by the way, so congratulations, Devin Booker, our newest all-time leading scorer in Phoenix Suns history, the best Phoenix Sun by far. And yes, better than Steve Nash, better than Charles Barkley. Devin Booker is the greatest Phoenix Sun of all time, or at least the greatest Phoenix Sun that we've ever seen. So congratulations, Devin Booker. It sucks that your team had to let you down on your special day by losing the game, but congratulations, Devin Booker. Keep doing your thing. More points to come in Phoenix Suns history. And then a couple days ago, they got blown out by the Oklahoma City Thunder, 140-109. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander dropped 50 points on the Suns. He's the MVP for a reason. It was a good first half in that game. We were up by 2 actually at halftime, and then in the second half, it was just brutal from there. It is what it is. So, and they're taking on the Utah Jazz later tonight at 8:00 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It should be a win, but we're the Phoenix Suns, so who knows? And then they're on a back-to-back against the Denver Nuggets at home. And then they take on the Grizzlies and Rockets, followed by those 2 games. So a big, tough task ahead. Today should be a win against a tanking Utah team. And then, of course, you got Denver, Memphis, and then Houston in your next 3 games. So a very big task there for this Phoenix Suns team, who is looking very lost so far in recent games. But now, with that being said, this was a terrible, terrible trade deadline. A terrible trade deadline. The Suns completely failed in this trade deadline. Completely failed. It was terrible. You know, obviously they did the Nick Richards deal way before the trade deadline. This one was terrible. I don't even know where to start. The Suns just did not get what we were hoping to get. They did make a move, though. I will get to it here after I explain this a little bit, but it was just bad. It was just bad. They failed to get rid of Bradley Beal. Granted, Bradley Beal had a say in whether he wanted to get traded or not. And there was a report that came out that said the only 2 teams that were interested in trading for Bradley Beal were the Wizards and the Hawks. So unless they were willing to get them involved in a 3 or 4 team trade or whatever, the Suns were stuck with Bradley Beal. So let me get that out of the way real quick. Bradley Beal wanted to stay in Phoenix. He was willing to waive his no-trade clause with Washington and Atlanta, but it just didn't work out. So Bradley Beal was off the chopping block, but the Suns did make a move. If I can pull it up. There we go. All right. So the Suns did trade Houston Nurkic, which was something that was supposed to get done. They traded him to the Charlotte Hornets for Cody Martin and I can't say this guy's first name, so I'm just going to call him Vasa Misic. I don't know if I'm saying that right. So they got 2 players in return for Houston Nurkic. The Suns are also trading away a 2026 first-round pick swap to the Charlotte Hornets as part of the deal, and the Suns also get a 2026 second-round pick in return. So this trade, I mean, Nurkic's value was obviously dead in the water. There weren't really a lot of teams that were interested in him, but the Suns eventually got the trade that we were all hoping for. They got Cody Martin. So they got 2 guards. Not really the biggest need that we had, but they got 2 guards. Tyus Jones hasn't been living up to huge expectations this year. So yeah, sure, why not take a chance on 2 other guards? This trade was, it was whatever. Obviously we all knew we were going to trade Houston Nurkic. It was only a matter of time. Mike Budenholzer and Houston Nurkic have not had a good relationship for, I think it was going on 3 months now. So it was only a matter of time before we got rid of Nurkic, and we finally did it. I think this was an hour before the trade deadline, so they barely got it off in time. And they finally get Nurkic off of the team, which, by the way, that Phoenix Suns trade a couple years ago, it's going to go down as one of the worst trades in Phoenix Suns history. Trading away DeAndre Ayton for Houston Nurkic. Granted, you got Grayson Allen in that deal, but they traded Tamani Kamara and DeAndre Ayton away for this guy. Just to ship him out to Charlotte a year and a half later. Not really looking good on that end of the bargain, but this shocked me. This right here really shocked me. The fact that the Suns, they were willing to trade Kevin Durant. They were listening to trade offers for Kevin Durant. Really? See, this is interesting to me because this did not come out until after Luka got traded to the Lakers. It's funny. It's kind of funny when Luka got traded to the Lakers, when no one expected Luka to be traded at all. That is when the league went crazy, right? Jimmy Butler trade rumors kept going. Kevin Durant was up there in rumors now, which was crazy. We saw Brandon Ingram get traded to Toronto. I mean, there's so many big trades. Anthony Davis to Dallas, obviously. So many big names getting traded at this trade deadline. One of the craziest trade deadlines we've probably ever seen. And Kevin Durant was a part of it. Kevin Durant did not request a trade out of Phoenix. So let that sink in. KD did not want to leave Phoenix. So this is shocking. Very, very shocking. I definitely see. Listen, I knew we weren't going to trade Kevin Durant at the end of the day because there was an offer that the Suns were lining up to get Jimmy Butler with I believe it was Jonathan Kuminga, first round picks, this and that. I would have actually loved to have that trade. Trading away an aging Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, and first round picks. Sure, why not? Why not do that? Get younger, get some picks up in there. Obviously, the Suns don't have control of their picks until 2032. So trading away an aging Kevin Durant for something like that probably would have been good. But Kevin Durant did not want to go back to Golden State. And that is why the Suns did not go through with the trade with the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors. And that is what led to this. The Jimmy Butler saga ends, but not with him in Phoenix. No. Jimmy Butler is not a Phoenix Sun, guys. After months and months of Jimmy Butler wanting to come to Phoenix, Kevin Durant trying to get Jimmy Butler to Phoenix, the Suns front office trying to get Jimmy Butler to Phoenix, all of that for nothing. For nothing. Jimmy Butler got traded to the Golden State Warriors, and I believe it was a 3-team deal, but I know for sure Golden State sent, I think, 4 players to Miami, and I think a first-round pick or so. to get Jimmy Butler. And then right after that, Jimmy Butler signed a 2-year extension for $60 million a year. So now that I think about this, we didn't get Jimmy Butler. I'm kind of starting to think that the Suns dodged a bullet there. He is 35 years old. The Warriors just gave him $121 million, $60 million a year for an aging Jimmy Butler at 35 years old. He'll be 37 by the time his contract's over, and his time will probably be over. The Suns would have given both Jimmy Butler and Kevin Durant extensions had they gotten Jimmy Butler, which would have kept them in second apron territory, which is, I hate that second apron crap. It's whatever. So I think the Suns dodged a bullet not getting Jimmy Butler. I did want Jimmy Butler at first, don't get me wrong. I've said it on previous shows. I won't deny it. I won't deny the fact that I wanted Jimmy Butler in Phoenix. Now that I think about it, though, the Suns had to make a decision between Kevin Durant and Jimmy Butler because Miami was not, excuse me, Miami was not going to take Bradley Beal's contract. They weren't going to take Bradley Beal. They weren't going to take Houston Nurkic. I don't even think they were going to take Grayson Allen. So, with that being said, at the end of the day, even though Jimmy Butler in Phoenix would have been nice, you got to think about right now. If we had traded for Jimmy Butler, one, who would we have gotten rid of? We would have gotten rid of KD, which is a no-no. We would have gotten rid of probably some other bench assets like Grayson Allen, Oso Iguodala. No, don't do that. Grayson Allen is our best shooter, or at least our most consistent shooter. We would have been paying him $60 million a year for in his mid-30s. Yeah, sure, he's good right now, but Father Time is undefeated. Even for the greatest players of all time, Father Time's undefeated. So, okay, yeah, it would have been nice had the Suns maybe been a contender this season, but look at where we're at right now. We're 25-25. We're barely in the play-in tournament right now. We have the hardest remaining schedule in the NBA for the rest of these 32 games that we have left. Is it really worth it? I'm glad the Suns did not get Jimmy Butler now that I think about it. But now you got to look at where we are now. The Suns, and it was reported by Gambo that the Suns are going to revisit the Kevin Durant trade offers in the summer. So what does that mean? You're going to trade Kevin Durant in the summer, get some picks maybe a young player or two, and what, you're going to do a full-scale rebuild with Devin Booker again, who is this time a little bit older than last time. He's in his prime right now, but he's 28 years old, but time flies. You're going to go through another rebuild with Devin Booker. Listen, I know Devin Booker wants to be a Phoenix Sun for life, which was actually reported today. He wants to stay in Phoenix for the rest of his career. But with that being said, if the Suns are going to go through another rebuild, they don't deserve Devin Booker. I'm sorry, Matt Ishbia spent how much money on this team? At least a few $100 million. He traded away Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, Chris Paul. I can go on and on. From that 2021 NBA Finals team, Devin Booker is the only player remaining from that team. Matt Ishbia traded away that whole championship caliber team. All he did with that was collect talent. He didn't really build a team that has good chemistry, which brings me to my next topic. Is the Phoenix Suns chemistry in the locker room broken? Is the chemistry broken? With the rumors that were going on and about with Kevin Durant, which, by the way, Kevin Durant was shocked that the Suns were even thinking about trading him. So, does that kind of turn the tide of events in the locker room? Because Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen, they did come out today and say the locker room, oh yeah, the locker room's fine. We're good. We're doing our thing. There's no drama going on. But at the same time, what do you expect players to say? Oh yeah, our locker room sucks. Our locker room is not getting along. We're not doing anything good in the locker room right now. I mean, come on. With the Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant trade rumors, does that kind of change the tone of the locker room a little bit? Same thing with even Devin Booker was in trade rumors. But the Suns they obviously weren't going to trade Devin Booker, but they were making calls. The Rockets were making calls for Devin Booker. The Rockets made calls for Kevin Durant too. The Grizzlies made calls for KD. So did the Warriors and the Heat. When all those rumors build up and it gets into your mindset, takes your mind off of the whole situation of the game that you're in right now. Suns are taking on Utah tonight. It should be a win, but maybe those trade rumors are kind of making them flustered a little bit, and it could cause an upset from Utah tonight. Now, last I checked, Kevin Durant is still questionable for this game, as we're 30 minutes away from tip-off. We'll see if he plays, but if he doesn't play, then Devin Booker's going to have another big game tonight. We can't blame the head coach anymore. If you're a Suns fan, guys, we can't blame the head coach anymore. We blamed Frank Vogel after 1 year. We fired him. We brought in Mike Budenholzer, who is an NBA champion. It's still not working. If anything, the Suns team got worse with Mike Budenholzer compared to last year with Frank Vogel. We can't blame the head coach anymore. So who do we blame this time? KD? Matt Ishbia? I mean, who do we blame? It's not the head coach anymore. Think about that. We have had 3 head coaches in the last 3 years. 3 in the last 3 years. Every single one of them has not worked out. So that kind of proves a point. You can't just keep on blaming the head coach. Which brings me to my next topic. Gee, I like how these are flowing into my next topics. I really like that, by the way. Is it time to move on from general manager James Jones? Part of me does blame Matt Ishbia for this whole dumpster fire segment. But at the same time, you're the general manager. You can do whatever, and you're the president of basketball operations for the Phoenix Suns. You could do whatever you want with the team, basically, as far as making moves. James Jones was asleep throughout the entire trade deadline. It's like he showed no effort in trying to get certain players that we could have used. The only move he really ever made was that Houston Nurkic trade, which was obviously inevitable. We were going to trade Houston Nurkic at some point, right? So is it time to move on from James Jones? And I have an idea. Obviously, the Suns don't care about my opinion. I'm just a fan, so they don't care. They don't give two shits. But if the Suns were to move on from James Jones, could you maybe make a call to Bob Myers? I actually tweeted this on the IE Sports Radio X account that I run, AZ Sports Zone IE. Make sure to follow. I tweeted my thoughts about this. Bob Myers has a big relationship with Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant wants to stay in Phoenix. Bob Myers brought the Warriors from, I think, 40 years of torture and disgracefulness to a dynasty. With that being said, why not, if you fire James Jones, bring in Bob Myers? There were rumors about Bob Myers coming to Phoenix when Matt Ishbia first took over the team. So why not bring a former dynasty champion in? This Phoenix Suns team, historically, they're a pretty good franchise. They have Hall of Famers, this and that. But the only thing that they don't have is that Larry O'Brien trophy. It's the only thing they don't have. They've had the players, they've had the money, they've had the teams. They win enough and then they lose. That's the definition of their history. If you guys want an NFL comparison, call them the Buffalo Bills of the NBA or something like that, or the Minnesota Vikings. That's kind of how it has been for the Suns. So why not? Why not take a chance on that? You know, we're not going anywhere with James Jones. We're not going anywhere with all these other players. And Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, as of 30 minutes ago, wow, I'm surprised I'm just now seeing this. Ryan Dunn is available. Ryan Dunn is playing today. Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant are both out. Why am I even here right now? No, I'm just kidding. Why am I even surprised at this point? And it also came out that James Jones did not have any discussions with Bradley Beal about his no trade clause and asking him if he was willing to waive it. So, I mean, come on. You didn't have one discussion with Bradley Beal, a guy that you wanted to trade. Keep that in mind. You wanted to get rid of Bradley Beal for Jimmy Butler, whether it was a 3-team deal or whatever. You didn't have one discussion with him about where he maybe would have wanted to go. You didn't have one discussion with him about maybe waiving his no trade clause for the right situation. James Jones, you're fired. Or at least if I was the owner, you're fired. Matt Ishbia, I hope this really gives him a lesson on you can't just collect talent and spend money. That's not how it works. You actually have to build a team that has good chemistry. That is not what James Jones has done since trading away Chris Paul. Matter of fact, Mikal Bridges, go back to the KD trade. He hasn't done it since then. So gives you something to think about a little bit regarding the Phoenix Suns. If they're going to hit a full-scale rebuild, they have to start with the general manager. You can't just trade away Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal. If you're going to rebuild, you might as well trade away Devin Booker. They can't just do that. It has to start with the general manager. Bring in a new guy. Start all over again. That is it for the Phoenix Suns segment. I know as expected, right? The Phoenix Suns absolutely botched the trade deadline. It was pathetic. But we're going to go into a quick break. When we come back, okay, good point. Can't blame the owner for not predicting chemistry outcomes. Yeah, I mean, fair enough, which is why I don't completely blame Matt Ishbia. This is only his second and a half. He's only been the owner for 2.5 years, if not 3 years. That's why I haven't been as harsh on Matt Ishbia as other Suns fans have. I know people want to say, "Oh, Matt Ishbia completely ruined the Phoenix Suns." No, I mean, maybe. But at the same time, Suns fans should have expected it when new ownership comes in. When new ownership comes in, expect your team to completely change. That's kind of how it works, right? We saw it with Washington, the Commanders. When they brought in new ownership, boom, they're a good team again, right? They don't have to deal with Dan Snyder anymore. That's how it is in sports. You bring in a new owner, everything changes. That's kind of how it is. But like I said, we're going to go into a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about the Arizona Cardinals a little bit. We're going to talk about Myles Garrett a little bit. I know the Suns. I know the Cardinals are, or at least they should be pursuing a guy on the defensive line. Myles Garrett. We're going to talk about the trade rumors. We'll talk about them hiring Justin Fry as the new offensive line coach. And we'll talk a little bit about former Cardinal Tyrann Mathieu making a comment about Michael Bidwell's Hall of Fame induction for Arizona sports. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back to talk about some Bird Gang football here on the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, guys? If you're looking for the best coverage of all Northern California sports, including 49ers, Giants, Warriors, then check out the NorCal Sports Report with yours truly, Andre Fernandez, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We have guests every single week talking 49ers, Giants, Warriors, Sharks, San Jose Earthquakes, and a whole lot more, plus 3C2A. You do not want to miss this show. So tune in Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time to the NorCal Sports Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a Tar Heel, Blue Devil, Demon Deacon, or maybe even a Gamecock? Do you cheer for the Panthers, the Canes, the Crown? And check out the Carolina Sports Update every week with me, Neil Curtis, to get the latest and greatest on all the sports action in the Carolinas. We'll be talking pro sports, ACC and SEC football, basketball, baseball, and everything in between. We'll even talk a little Formula One racing now and again. So, for the best hour of Carolina sports coverage, catch me each week on Carolina Sports Update with Neil Curtis, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back, everyone, to the AZ Sports Zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Make sure to check out Neil and Andre's shows for Carolina and NorCal, especially if you guys are fans of those teams. Make sure to check out everybody's shows on the IE Sports Radio. We got some good people talking about some good sports. And once again, reminder, Super Bowl extravaganza. We will be going live for the Super Bowl. I will be hosting one of the shows, so make sure to tune in for that. But we just covered the Phoenix Suns and that tremendous trade deadline that they had. So let's talk some Arizona Cardinals football. All right, so we all know about the Myles Garrett trade request. He wants out of Cleveland. We all know about it. And there was there's been, rumors that he wants to go to a team that wants to win and this and that. So Myles Garrett to Arizona, is it a possibility? Could the Cardinals maybe find a way to shock everybody and get Myles Garrett in the desert? The Cardinals, at least, I hope I'm not being biased. I think the Cardinals are an up-and-coming team. Their rebuild has been going good so far. Not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but what I'm saying is playoff contenders, they could compete. One of their biggest needs is a guy on the defensive line, or at least a guy that can really give you double-digit sacks, at least decently every year, which is what Myles Garrett has done every year aside from his rookie season. Cardinals, on the defensive part, their pass rush was a bend but not break last season. Coming into this season, I thought our run defense would be the weakest link of our team, which part of it was. Same thing with the pass rush. When Dennis Gardeck had that knee injury, we didn't have a lot of people who consistently got to the quarterback that well, weren't able to force quarterbacks out of the pocket that well. So Myles Garrett to Arizona. It's something I hope the Cardinals are at least considering. Obviously, with this draft, Cardinals are picking 16th. They could get a good pass rusher in the draft. But then again, why not go after a guy that's already proven? A guy that's in his prime, former Defensive Player of the Year, records double-digit sacks year in and year out, every year. What's up, Andre? How you doing? Great show, by the way, on on Wednesday. Miles Garrett's coming to San Francisco. You guys already have Nick Bosa, all right? Save some for the rest of us. I'm calling it now. Okay. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly. The NFC West always gets a bunch of players, except for the Cardinals, obviously. I don't see Arizona going all in on Garrett. Now, well, I don't see them going all in either, but, I hope it's something that they at least consider. I hope it's something that Monty Ford at least gives Cleveland a call, gives Garrett's agent a call, right? At least checks in on the whole situation, right? What kind of team does Myles Garrett want to go to? How much is Cleveland going to be willing to take from us? And basically, Myles Garrett does have one of the weirdest contracts I have ever seen. Not going to go completely into detail, but his contract is a little bit weird. I'll say that. But the Cardinals have the money to do it, right? I know we have a cheapskate owner. There's no getting around to that. And I'll get to Michael Bidwell here in a little bit because one of the next segments I have for the Cardinals is kind of funny, and it's regarding Michael Bidwell. I know we have one of the cheapest owners ever that you could possibly think of in all of sports, but we're fourth in cap space. We have a lot of needs, defensive line being one of them. So why not, right? Take his contract. The NFL's worst nightmare is if he goes to the Chiefs. Yeah. Which I don't get why all of these teams continue to help out the Chiefs, right? The Titans gave DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. I know I'm missing something. It's like, I know I'm missing something, but I don't know why teams continue to help out the Chiefs. So I don't know why the Browns would give him to Kansas City. Just from common sense of if I were the Cleveland Browns front office, Browns are an AFC team, right? You would think that they would give him to an NFC team. I know Cleveland is rebuilding. They're not competing for anything really as of right now. I mean, they're focusing on drafting a quarterback. So their full rebuild involving the Myles Garrett trade rumors. Obviously, the Cardinals weren't really one of the teams that were on the media, which makes sense, right? Cardinals went 8-9 last year. Myles Garrett wants to win. The Cardinals aren't really necessarily a proven win now team. But look at our division, right? Niners, my opinion, the Niners were just on a hangover, right? And they dealt with injuries. They'll be back next season. At least I think they will be. Seattle depends. With Geno Smith coming back, do you really want to? I mean, come on. Are the Seahawks really going to be that deadly next season? And then you got the Rams. I think they'll be competitive next season. Depends on how the age catches up with Stafford, or even if the Rams are going to keep Stafford. I keep hearing trade rumors, but it is what it is. Obviously, the Cooper Kupp trade rumors are there. They are going to get rid of him. So you can make a debate. Our division is getting a little bit weaker. The Cardinals are an up-and-coming team, or at least based off of these last couple of years, it looks that way, right? They doubled their wins this season than they did the previous year. They went 8-9. They were a few bad plays away from maybe making the playoffs, a few bad plays that led to losses away from going to the postseason as a 6 or 7 seed, right? So they were leading the division at one point for a while too. So if Myles Garrett, depends on what team he wants to go to, right? I think Cleveland is going to respect his desire to go to a winning team. And there are teams that have a way better chance than we do at winning, way closer than we do at winning. There were talks of Detroit, Buffalo, obviously, teams that are contenders right now. So with that being said, I don't think we'll get Myles Garrett. I'm not saying we are going to get Myles Garrett, but it's something that I hope the Cardinals at least consider trying to do. If we do get Myles Garrett, though, that checks off another need off of our bucket list as we continue to try to become a playoff team as our rebuild continues for year 3 under the Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ford era. So hopefully, even if they don't get Myles Garrett, there are guys in the draft that they could get. I've talked about it previously with Walker from Georgia. Obviously, the Cardinals are not going to be high enough in the draft to get Abdul Carter unless somehow they trade up, which I don't see them doing. So at 16, there are options that they can get for the pass rush. And as we get closer to draft day, I will talk. I will probably do a mock draft or two for the Cardinals with the picks that they have. They don't have as many picks in this draft as they did last year. They only have 5 picks in this year's draft, so obviously less options available for us, but still pretty interesting. I would expect the Cardinals, or at least hope the Cardinals, focus on defense with the 16th pick. Um, Offensively, we seemed pretty good. It was just the stupid play calling that we had to deal with, and obviously Kyler Murray blowing some games away in big moments. It is what it is. Cleveland is in so much debt with the Deshaun Watson contract. Yes, they are. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if Cleveland didn't pick a quarterback just simply by the fact that they're stuck with Deshaun Watson. But yeah, like you said, Deshaun Watson's out for a majority of next season. Maybe they take Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, whatever happens. But regardless of that, Myles Garrett to Arizona, I don't see it happening, but it is something I hope they try to do at least. So with that being said, man, I'm killing a bunch of time and I haven't even gotten to the D-backs yet. So here we go. The Cardinals hired Justin Fry as the new offensive line coach. He was the offensive line coach for Ohio State this season in their national championship run. Obviously, Clayton Adams went to Dallas as the offensive coordinator, so we lost our offensive line coach, but we quickly respond and hire a new one in Justin Fry. I like this hire a lot. And the Cardinals are fans of Ohio State players, at least with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Paris Johnson. And Justin Fry did coach Paris Johnson when he was at Ohio State. So there's already some chemistry there between Paris Johnson and Justin Fry, which he was a big reason for the coaching aspect of Paris Johnson being selected top 10 to the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, our star left tackle. There's some other guys on the O-line. I could see Justin Fry really producing well in the NFL. We have Froholt, who emerged as a good center for us. Kelvin Beachum remains a good veteran option for us. Maybe they take an O-lineman in the draft, right? Even though the offensive line improved drastically this season, still a lot of times Kyler Murray had to run for his life, which is something you never want your quarterback doing quite a bit. So with that being said, good hire for the Cardinals here. Can't wait to see how he changes how he continues to improve our offensive line. Obviously, Will Hernandez, we'll see if he comes back to Arizona coming off of that knee injury. We'll see what happens. But I like this hire overall. Like I said, chemistry with Paris Johnson. It's going to be very key, as obviously with Kyler Murray dealing with injuries throughout his career, he's going to need as much protection on the O-line as he can get. So I kind of want to talk about this before we go into the closing segment of the Diamondbacks and college basketball. So former Cardinal Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, had some words for Michael Bidwill's induction into the Arizona Sports Hall of Fame. Now, if you guys already know, I'm not a fan of our owner. I don't like the Bidwill family in general, but God rest Bill Bidwill's soul. But Michael Bidwill recently got inducted into the Arizona Sports Hall of Fame. And Tyrann Mathieu had a comment to make about that, former Cardinal. So when they officially announced it, well, obviously we're about a week later since he got inducted, but Tyrann Mathieu posted on X or Twitter, whatever you guys call it these days. He tweeted on X saying he must have clearly paid for the honor. He must have paid for the Hall of Fame honor. Kind of sparking up a little fire with fire there, I see, former Cardinal. Now, you guys obviously are aware a big reason on why Tyrann Mathieu is not a Cardinal for life is because of the fact that the Bidwill family did not want to pay him. They're cheapskates. We all know this. Especially if you're a Cardinals fan, you know that's basically the agenda of Arizona sports owners that aren't named Matt Ishbia. They're cheap. which is why we've lost a lot of great players in our past, like Christian Kirk, Hassan Reddick, Tyrann Mathieu, Calais Campbell. I can go on and on with players that the Bidwell family have not wanted to pay. So Tyrann Mathieu makes a point that Cardinal fans have tried to make for years. Why does he deserve the Hall of Fame? He probably did pay for it, honestly. What has he done? What has his father done? I think I really liked that the Honey Badger made that comment because it needs to be said from people that have been experienced and closer to the Bidwell family that as long as this man is our owner, the Cardinals are not winning a damn thing. They're not winning anything. As long as this man is our owner, and Tyrann Mathieu, he went to Kansas City, won a title. DeAndre Hopkins went to Kansas City. He's probably going to win a title this Sunday. DJ Humphries as well. I know a lot of people forget he's on the Chiefs right now, but yeah, him too. Hassan Reddick went to Philadelphia. He went to a Super Bowl. Guys that leave our team succeed elsewhere. Cliff Kingsbury. Cardinals fired him not even a year after paying him. He goes to Washington as the coordinator. He brings Washington from the pits of despair to the NFC Championship game. It happens. Every time it's the Cardinals, this happens. It's not looking good for Arizona sports as far as the ownership goes for the Cardinals. And when you have poor ownership, it definitely does affect players wanting to come to your team. But if you're winning, obviously that's a whole different segment. If you're winning, which the Cardinals have shown flashes and shown promise that they could win in these next couple years or so. They just have to spend the money that they have the fourth highest cap space, even after the Budda Baker extension. They have the money to do it. They just have to want it. So something to think about regarding the Cardinals as we get closer to free agency and towards the end of the season. By the way, guys, if you guys have picks for the Super Bowl, feel free to put it in the chat. I'm gonna go. Obviously, I'm going live as one of the hosts for the Super Bowl show that we're doing. So I'll talk a little bit more about the Super Bowl then. And by the way, guys, actually, I'll talk about it when we get back from break. But like I said, I'll be going live at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the Arizona Diamondbacks and, of course, college basketball. We'll talk a little bit about ASU and U of A basketball as we wrap up episode 30 here on the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio. You guys know what that is. Your direct feed for all that is sports. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back here shortly.
Are you a fan of Minnesota sports? Do you love the Vikings and hate the Packers? Are you a fan of the Timberwolves, Twins, Wild, Lynx, St. Paul Saints? Here on the Bold North Breakdown, we'll talk about all of those professional teams as well as all the college teams in the area. That's your basketball teams, football, hockey, volleyball, men's and women's sports alike. We talk about them all. Here on the Bold North Breakdown. Join me, your host, Glenn Ritter, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central to discuss all that is happening in the Minnesota sports scene here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Wisconsin sports fans? I'm Dan, diehard Baholic, host of the Wisconsin Whistle. Check us out every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. We'll talk to Green Bay Packers, Milwaukee Brewers, Milwaukee Bucks, Marquette basketball, Wisconsin football and basketball, and all Wisconsin sports. Don't miss us each week, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to the AZ Sports Zone on the IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Of course, I'm your host, Alden K. If you guys are just now tuning in for the closing segment for episode 30, we just covered the Arizona Cardinals. Could they get Myles Garrett? We'll find out. And of course, some drama going on between former Cardinal Tyrann Mathieu and the owner himself, Michael Bidwell. So like I said, Super Bowl extravaganza this Sunday, guys. All of us, well, not all of us, but a lot of us here on the IE Sports Radio will be going live before the Super Bowl and after the Super Bowl. Larry B will do a show with multiple guests. For my show at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time with the guests that I have on, we're going to be playing a trivia game. And the trivia game will involve the teams that are the Chiefs and Eagles, a little bit about their history, and of course and some of the questions will involve the players that are in the Super Bowl. So a little bit interesting there. So if you guys like a little bit of trivia games, this and that, make sure to tune in. You guys are welcome to participate this Sunday at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But with that being said, let's get into the Arizona Diamondbacks. This is the only news that the Diamondbacks have really had as of lately. The Diamondbacks signed first baseman and outfielder Trey Mancini to a minor league deal and invited him to spring training. So this is a pretty good depth move for the D-backs. Obviously, regarding first baseman, Christian Walker obviously left, is what it is, and we replaced him though with Josh Naylor. So we made a replacement very quickly, and now we signed Trey Mancini for a depth piece. And Josh Bell did go back to Washington, so no more Josh Bell. But they signed Trey Mancini. It's a good depth piece in case they need to sit Josh Naylor a little bit. Obviously, other than that, excuse me. So obviously, with the invitation to spring training, it's not a guarantee he'll make the roster yet, but it would be a good depth piece if they were to keep him. Obviously, first baseman depth with Josh Naylor, who was a former All-Star. If he ever needs a rest, and this doesn't just apply to him, applies to all the other outfielders as well, because Mancini could also play outfielder. So Corbin Carroll, who was the Iron Man of our team this season, didn't really miss a whole lot of games. Now there's another option for him in case he needs a rest. So I like the moves that the Diamondbacks have made ever since they lost out on re-signing Christian Walker. They've really responded ever since, and hopefully it continues. I don't see the Diamondbacks making another move before the season. We'll see what happens. But this is a good depth signing that I like for the Diamondbacks. And another signing, Randall Grichuk is re-signed to a one-year deal for $5 million. This was a guy last season who really stepped up when Torey Lovello threw him into the lineup. He had a few good bombs here and there, home runs. Was a good RBI hitter for the D-backs last season. So with that being said, I'm glad Randall Grichuk is back with the Diamondbacks. Wouldn't be shocked if he had an even better year this season than what he had last year. I think with Jock Peterson departing, we could see him maybe a little bit more, depending on who the D-backs throw at DH. But there was a report at the beginning of the offseason that he was not going to come back to the Diamondbacks. We all thought he was going to get paid bigger money elsewhere, but he's back with the Snakes. So bringing the club back together for 2025 as we get closer to opening day. I'm pretty sure we're 48 days away from opening day. We're getting very close to spring training, guys. Definitely will keep my eye on spring training to see how the team does. Get the rust off of the team a little bit, and we'll see how they do. So great to see Randall Grichuk back on the Diamondbacks. But now, let's get into some... I can change this. College basketball before we wrap things up. ASU basketball. Not looking good. Not looking good. As I pull up their schedule here, man, this is just brutal. First the Suns basketball, and now ASU basketball, man. It's rough right now. But last episode I talked about how they beat Colorado and they lost to Iowa State the game before that. Well, since last week's episode, they lost to their rival in Arizona, U of A, 81-72. And Tuesday they lost by 1 point, 71-70 against Kansas State in a very close game. They don't play again until Sunday afternoon. They take on Oklahoma State, and then they're taking on the 13th ranked Texas Tech on Wednesday, followed by TCU in Houston. So, yeah, the Sun Devils are now 12-10 into the season. For a team that was in March Madness not too long ago, this is not really looking good for ASU, at least compared to the other Arizona team. But in the U of A game against Arizona State, Caleb Love was amazing. He was amazing. 27 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. The guy had a near triple-double. He was amazing in that game. Amazing. And he's been the MVP for U of A. And his draft stock, the more games U of A wins, the more he leads U of A and wins, continues to go up. Whichever team gets him, man, they're going to have a great one. But is it time to move on from Bobby Hurley? Coach of ASU, been here for 10 years. He was a great player at Duke. But he has not done it really well at all as a coach. So is it time to move on from Bobby Hurley? I think so. Or at least I think ASU should at least consider it because it is not working out right now. They're 12-10 onto the season after starting off decently at the beginning of the year. Yeah, not looking good for ASU basketball. Might be time to move on here in a little bit from Bobby Hurley. But anyway, let me know what y'all think about that before we wrap everything up. U of A Wildcats, I've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but U of A remains hot. I think last episode when I went live, I said they won 10 of their last 11. Now they've won, I think, 12 of their last 13. So they have not lost a game still since I went live last week. They are red hot. They're coming off a win against BYU on Tuesday, 85-74. As I keep talking about Caleb Love, he had 18 points in that game. Milwaukee had 14 points, and Bradler had 17. And off the bench, Visar had 17 as well. So U of A basketball keeps doing their thing. They're now ranked 20th. So they finally got their rank. Well deserved, even though I'm a Sun Devil. I'll give my rivals credit where credit's due, okay? Even though I'm a devil at heart. U of A is now ranked 20th, and they take on the 13th ranked Texas Tech tomorrow at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And then they take on Kansas State following that game Tuesday, February 11th. So if U of A can keep this up, might be time for the Wildcat fans over in Tucson to really throw national championship hopes. March Madness, championship hopes. So, see what happens with U of A, but they are red hot right now. With Caleb Love leading the helm. So, U of A fans, I know you're excited. I'm not. Anyway, but like I said though, even though I'm a Sun Devil at heart, I'll give my rivals credit where credit's due sometimes. So, with that being said, guys, that is it for episode 30. Really appreciate you guys for stopping by. Once again, before we head out, make sure to follow the 2 X accounts that I run, AZ Sports Zone IE and at the AZTRL. And one more time before we head on out, make sure to check out the Super Bowl extravaganza event that we're going to be having on Super Bowl Sunday. For my episode, once again, I'll be doing a trivia game with the guests that I have, and the questions will include Chiefs and Eagles and the players that are on the team currently. I might throw in a little bit more questions that aren't related to the Chiefs and Eagles just to make it more fun, I guess, more interesting, this and that. But stay tuned for that. Don't just check out everybody's shows. We got Larry B starting it off and ending it after the game as well with a bunch of other guests. So make sure to that out. But like I said, guys, I appreciate you guys stopping by for episode 30 here on the AZ Sports Zone on the iSports Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Next week, we will be back at it, talk more about the Phoenix Suns, how the trade deadline has affected the team with the games that they will be playing later this week. If more Diamondbacks news comes out as we get closer to spring training, I will talk about it. Same thing with college basketball. We'll continue to talk about it as well. And, of course, the Arizona Cardinals. Will Myles Garrett be a Cardinal by next week? No, I'm just kidding. You can't even make a trade right now, but it would be nice. So now that we got all that out of the way, time to head on up out of here. Appreciate everyone who stopped by to watch episode 30. It's been 30 episodes already, man. I can't believe it. It's amazing. But with that being said, guys, have a very safe weekend. Make sure to stay safe for Super Bowl Sunday. Be safe. All right, stay safe for an awesome Super Bowl game. Well, not awesome for me, but a very good game, hopefully, and a good halftime show, hopefully. See you guys next Friday for episode 31. Have a great week. See you guys next Friday, and we're out of here.